Once I got a job as a night security guard at a morgue. The work was easy, one shift every 3 days. The clients were quiet. No problems. At first it was scary, unpleasant, but eventually I got used to it. One evening, when I started my shift, Dave, an old guard, showed up. He had probably worked there for 20 years. He came up to me and said, "Tonight, stay in the security office. Don't leave. Whatever happens, stay put. It's a bad night, full moon. Strange things can happen." I was furious. I thought, how dare this uneducated guard try to scare me, someone with a college degree? Dave just listened and said, "Suit yourself, I warned you." He turned and walked away. By the end of the shift, I almost forgot about it, but one detail stayed with me. Dave was sober and serious. After work, the senior coroner, Michael, stayed to chat. We sat in the security office talking about life, philosophy. That detail about Dave kept nagging me. Sober, calm, serious. Late at night, Michael left. I locked the door behind him and checked the freezers and coroner's rooms. Then I turned off the lights and returned to the office. The morgue layout was simple. Entrance doors, the security office, and a long T-shaped corridor. At the ends were doors to the body storage, the coroner's rooms, and other rooms. Several lights burned in the corridor all night. The office light should have stayed on, but guards usually turned it off when they slept. All doors except the entrance were closed, but not locked, just shut tight. I lay down, reading Grimmelshausen, listening to the silence. Outside, it was completely still. No wind, no traffic. The moon hung low in the sky. At midnight, I felt sleepy. I decided to lie down. Then, I heard it. A soft, almost imperceptible creak from the corridor door. The corridor was dimly lit. I couldn't see anything, and a chill ran down my spine. I went to check why the door had opened. I walked firmly, echoing footsteps, giving me courage. And then, I sensed movement in the darkness. I remembered Dave's warning. Stay inside. Don't leave. I slowly retreated to the office, slammed the door, and secured the latch. Then, sounds of fast footsteps in the corridor. They stopped at the door. The handle was pulled hard from outside, but the latch held. Through the crack, a dark, indistinct shape appeared, and a sweet, sickly smell of decay wafted inside. I gripped the handle with all my strength. Something terrifying was trying to get in, scratching, clawing at the doorframe and walls. Complete silence. No breathing. Only the smell of formaldehyde and cold. With dawn, everything stopped. No one scratched. No one tried the handle. But my fingers stayed pale, tense, gripping the handle tightly. A persistent knock pulled me back to reality. I opened the door. The corridor was empty. It seemed the whole night had been a nightmare. The lock jammed. I struggled to open it. Finally, I did. On the doorstep, the night guard on shift smiled. "Finally awake? I've been knocking for an hour." I mumbled something, still shaken. Outside, I nervously smoked, trying to understand. Was it real or a dream? Michael was nearby, asking something, but all I could think was that really real? Then the intern, Alex, came out. "Strange case. Preparing a drowning victim for autopsy. Yesterday's delivery. Under the nails, there's white paint." "What's strange about that?" Michael said lazily. "Old, dried paint. But the nail cracks. To me, they look fresh." Post-mortem, they walked away. I approached the office door. On the smooth white surface at chest height, semicircular scratches and uneven chips were clearly visible. About 5 years ago, something strange started happening in our house. Every morning my mom complained about the same thing. Someone was ringing our doorbell at night, always between 2 and 3 a.m. The ringing was loud, aggressive, as if someone was pressing the button on purpose, trying to wake up the entire building. What scared her the most was that only she could hear it. No one else in the family woke up. She would get out of bed, walk into the hallway, reach for the door, and ask, "Who's there?" Silence. At that time, we didn't have a peephole yet, so she listened closely, hoping to hear footsteps, or at least some movement. Nothing. The doorbell rang again, and again. No answer. She never dared to open the door. She went back to bed, wide awake until morning. Before leaving for work, she told both me and my father that someone had come again during the night. My dad was a skeptic. He laughed it off. Must be your conscience coming back from the dead, or the ghost of a salary raise. My mum didn't find it funny. I didn't either. But I never heard the doorbell myself. So I thought maybe she was dreaming. Except it kept happening, almost every week. Eventually my mum stopped going to the door, and the ringing stopped, at least for a while. Last year, I developed insomnia. I would lie awake all night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the clock ticking right next to my ear. At night, time moves slowly, like thick syrup. Only when the sky begins to lighten does sleep finally come. Heavy, colorless. I didn't take sleeping pills. My mom made me herbal tea, chamomile, mint. It didn't help. Night became torture. It happened on one of those nights. Early February. No moon. Heavy snow outside. I was home alone. My parents went to visit my godmother and couldn't come back. The buses were cancelled because of the storm. I went to bed around 1 a.m. The moment my head touched the pillow, I knew I wouldn't sleep. I turned from side to side, wrapped myself in blankets, covered my head with a pillow. Nothing. Finally, I lay on my back, staring into the darkness, waiting for morning. And then the doorbell rang, loud, piercing, as if someone was holding the button down, trying to wake the neighbors. I jumped. I thought my parents had returned. I rushed to the door and reached for the handle, automatically asking, "Who is it?" No answer. The doorbell rang again, just as insistently. "Who's there? Please answer." Silence. I listened carefully. No footsteps, no movement. My chest tightened. The doorbell rang again. I stood on my toes and looked through the peephole. The hallway was lit by 2 dim bulbs. A boy stood at the door, about 10 years old. He wore a thin dark coat, no hat, old felt boots, dark hair, a round face, no expression. His eyes were large, colourless, empty. It was snowing heavily outside, but not a single snowflake was on him. His clothes were completely dry. He slowly lifted his head and looked straight up, as if he knew I was watching him. My mind raced. How could he even reach the doorbell? Why wasn't he answering? And where did he come from? There were no children like that in our building. Fear crept into my bones. Then his face darkened. His mouth opened. "Don't look at me." His voice was rough, scratchy like an old man's. "Don't look, or it will get worse." I screamed and stumbled backward into the hallway. At the same moment, something began scratching at the door, and a hoarse voice whispered, "Seen, seen, seen." I stood frozen, unable to move. The scratching grew louder. "Lord, protect me." My hand was shaking as I made the sign of the cross on the door. "Please, save me from evil." Almost instantly, the scratching stopped. Something hit the door hard, and then silence. I stood there for several minutes, still crossing myself, listening. Nothing. I didn't dare look through the peephole again. I went back to my room, turned on the light, and stayed awake until morning. I finally passed out from exhaustion. My parents returned around noon. They woke me up and immediately asked, "What happened to the front door? There were deep scratches on the upholstery. Fresh, clear. The door covering had been replaced recently. When I saw them, I almost fainted. But I held myself together. After that night, the doorbell never rang again. Not for me, not for my mum. Thank God. Whatever it was, it realized the door would never be opened. Or maybe it was afraid because it had been seen. Or maybe now it rings other doors. God forbid someone lets it in. My husband's friend works as a detective. He once told me about a case in our town. There was a woman named Taylor. She raised her son alone. Her only relative was her sister. She didn't hide her profession and lived as best she could. Every day she took a bus to the highway. She wore a white wig, a short skirt, and red boots. Sometimes someone gave her a ride back. Sometimes she walked. The town was small. There were no taxis. One day her body was found on the highway. The investigation began. Detectives questioned everyone, but no one really cared. People disliked her. Women spat after her. Men mocked her. Her son was bullied at school. Her sister was questioned. At first, she stayed silent. Then she spoke. 2 days before her death, Taylor came to me. No makeup, a simple knee-length dress. She wanted peace. I know it was hard for you to walk with me in town. Let's go to a notary. I'll give you power of attorney. I saved the money for Dima. If something happens to me, take care of him. Make sure he has food, clothes, school supplies. Just don't send him to an orphanage. Her sister told what happened that last night. She was walking from the gas station when a truck stopped. She got in and joked, "Why are your headlights off?" They passed a police checkpoint. She looked at the driver. Pale face, sunken black eyes. She felt fear. "I don't need your services," he said. "I'll take you home." She wanted to jump out, asked him to stop in a public place. At the town turn, he stopped. "From here, you're on your own." She got out, shaking. She felt someone behind her. No footsteps. Under a streetlight, a silhouette. Her hands trembled. She couldn't open the door. Inside, she locked everything and waited in the dark. After an hour, a loud bang came from the kitchen. Curtains fell. The light was on. An icon had fallen. She prayed. She decided to quit. There was money. She could find another job. Even cleaning would be safer. Her sister supported her. The next day, Taylor didn't go to the highway. That night, she slept with her son. In the morning, her body was found on the highway. A composite was made. People were questioned. They thought it was a maniac. But police on duty said that from midnight to 1 a.m., no truck passed that road. The case was never solved. Something, or someone, left a mark that couldn't be explained.